Jim Parsons spent more than a decade as the face of the biggest sitcom in television history. Yet, the moment that pushed him away wasn't a contract dispute or a creative blowout. It was a quiet, painful turning point triggered during the most overwhelming summer of his life. As the pressure of Broadway, a grueling network schedule, and personal heartbreak closed in, a single moment forced him to confront a truth he had been avoiding. Sheldon Cooper could no longer protect him from the reality of his own life. The summer of breaking points. By the break between seasons 11 and 12, Jim Parsons was the highest-paid actor on TV, with The Big Bang Theory pulling in 18 million viewers an episode. But behind the scenes, Jim was collapsing. He had committed to the Broadway revival of The Boys in the Band in New York. His schedule was a nightmare: 8 stage shows a week, punctuated by constant flights to Los Angeles to film the sitcom. He was physically damaged and mentally drained. At home, the stakes were even higher. Jim and his husband, Todd Spiewak, were watching their 14-year-old dog, a constant companion for half of Jim's adult life, slowly fade away. Jim lived in constant terror. What if his dog died while he was on a set thousands of miles away, pretending to be someone else? The walk in the park that changed everything. The fracture finally broke during a simple walk in a New York park. Jim had just returned from a flight, exhausted and preparing for a commercial shoot. As he looked at his frail, hurting dog, something inside him snapped. Todd reminded him of the crew waiting for him, but Jim couldn't move. He broke down in the middle of the park, crying not from work stress, but from the crushing guilt of not being present for those he loved. He realized he had lost control of his own time. He was performing for the world, but he wasn't there for his own family. The next day, they put their dog to sleep. Days later, still reeling from grief, Jim returned to the Broadway stage. During a routine entrance, he felt a sickening snap in his foot. He had broken it. Staring at the X-rays in the hospital, the reality hit him. His body was failing because he was pushing it beyond human limits. The shadow of 52. Limping out of the emergency room, Jim was haunted by a specific memory. His father had passed away suddenly at the age of 52. Jim did the math. At the end of season 12, he would be 46, exactly 6 years younger than the age his father never survived. The thought chilled him. What if he only had 6 years left? Did he want to spend that precious time repeating the same rhythms on a soundstage, wearing superhero t-shirts and delivering the same jokes? The answer was a resounding no. He realized that if he didn't stop now, his final years might belong to a network schedule rather than to himself. The Sunday that ended an era. One quiet Sunday, Jim walked into the home of creator Chuck Lorre. He wasn't there to negotiate for the rumored $50 million contract. He was there to reclaim his life. There was no shouting. Jim explained his exhaustion, his grief, and his fear of the 52-year mark. Chuck listened with quiet compassion. Both men knew the truth. The Big Bang Theory could not exist without Sheldon Cooper. If Jim left, the show ended. A family blindsided. A few days later, Jim gathered the cast: Johnny Galecki, Kaylee Cuoco, Simon Helberg, Kunal Nair, Mayim Bialik, and Melissa Rauch, in his dressing room. The room fell silent as Jim broke the news. While everyone was devastated, Johnny Galecki later admitted to feeling blindsided. After 12 years of family status, he felt the cast should have been consulted before the producers. Kaylee Cuoco famously posted that she was drowning in tears. Despite the shock, there was an underlying understanding. The show had run its course. On August 22, 2018, the world learned that season 12 would be the final chapter. Life after Sheldon. When the 2-hour finale aired in May 2019, 18.5 million people watched Sheldon Cooper say his final goodbye. But for Jim Parsons, it was the start of a new life. He didn't quit acting. He redirected his energy. He delivered a chilling, Emmy-nominated performance in Hollywood, starred in the deeply emotional Spoiler Alert, and returned to his first love, the theater, with acclaimed Broadway runs in Mother Play and Our Town. He continued to narrate young Sheldon until its conclusion in 2024, staying connected to the character without being imprisoned by the schedule. Jim Parsons didn't leave because of ego or money. He left because life reminded him that time is the one thing even the brightest stars cannot negotiate. By choosing himself, he allowed the show to go out on top and gave himself the freedom to grow. Do you think Jim made the right choice by ending the show when he did? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the royal time of Hollywood, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification